patrickcc, the comedians who got caught stealing jokes. Let's get it, bruh.
Rule in comedy is simple. Never steal another comedian's jokes.
Talk to me,
Most
Patrick.
comics spend months, sometimes years, testing material until it's perfect, only to have someone swoop in, steal the punchline, and reap the reward without doing the work. You've probably felt it before. You say something funny, someone repeats it louder, and they get all the laughs. Now imagine someone did that to a joke that could legitimately change your life. Unfortunately, it happens all the time. And today we are going to talk
Steve Harvey
about some of the most undeniable cases of joke theft in comedy history, starting with Brendan Schaub, who became best friends with the most famous comedian in the industry and still managed to destroy his career.
You steal our ideas and you sit there and you pass them off as your own, and you even botch it when you do it. You botch it when you do it every single time. You sit there and you rip off our ideas. It's plagiarism 101, except you're not writing anything, you're saying it. And it's harder to catch that way.
Joe Rogan was the one who convinced Brendan to become a comedian instead of a professional fighter, a decision he might later regret. From the beginning, it was clear that Schaub was not ready for this career change. The JRE fandom initially enjoyed Brendan's company as their goofy, peaked-in-high-school athlete with obvious signs of CTE, but that was as a guest on a podcast. Stand-up comedy is a whole different beast, and Brendan simply did not have the experience. And since Rogan surrounded himself with veteran comedians like Ari Shaffir, Tom Segura, and Joey Diaz, Schaub sort of came across as like a nepo baby. Since Schaub was now surrounded by vets, it seemed like he felt like he needed to act like a master of his craft instead of treating himself like a humble student of the game trying to soak up knowledge from the OGs. He released his first official stand-up special within 1 year of doing comedy, something most comedians spend a decade working on. From there, he started hosting events and launched multiple comedy podcasts. But it was after he released his second special on YouTube called The Gringo Poppy that comedy fans seriously felt Schaub did not belong in this industry.
Whenever you move in a new house, it's always weird, but it's even weirder in the middle of a pandemic. So we move in a new house, my girl goes, Poppy, I've seen the neighbors. They're pretty old. Let's play it safe. They're probably COVID conscious. Why don't you just go over and introduce yourself, right? I'll bake some Mexican cookies, and you go over there. I'm like, what the f***'s a Mexican cookie? What are you talking about? It's like a chocolate chip with salsa all over it? What are you talking about?
People are always underestimating Brendan Schaub. He was the first comedian to ever release a special without jokes.
Yikes.
Nobody laughed harder than Brendan Schaub during the entire set. This guy sure has some hidden talent. Hope he finds it one day. Even with the
Oh my god, this one is a crazy rip right here, bro.
Even with the Rogan friendship advantage, Schaub had entered comedy hell. His special bombed, his live show audiences were getting smaller and smaller, and his own subreddit was now entirely taken over by people who despised him. And they did not just expose Brendan for being bad at comedy, they accused him of taking people's jokes and making them worse. Like when he made a similar Rocky Balboa joke as Bill Burr during his legendary Philadelphia rant.
Philadelphia has a statue of Rocky Balboa. It's not even real.
Rocky is your hero. The whole pride of your city is built around a guy who doesn't even exist.
Now this could just be a coincidence. After all, Rocky is a staple figure of Philadelphia. Or maybe it was just an accident. And accidents happen. Chances are you know someone who has been seriously hurt in an accident. If that wasn't bad enough, they end up with huge bills from the hospital, making not only their health a concern, but also their finances. When you're seriously hurt, Morgan at forthepeople.com/Patrick or by scanning the QR code on screen from your phone's camera.
That bag, bro.
However, his bit about ordering fajitas from Chili's seems a little too similar to Nick Swardson's.
Because it's more than a meal, it's very exciting. When you order a fajita, you order them, and then a couple minutes later, they bring them out, and it is loud.
Want that same feeling? I go to Chili's and order fajitas. You know what I'm talking about, you order those fajitas, it's fucking poppin'.
Heat, smoke, it's like 4th of July. Everyone's like, oh my God, what is that? What the f is that?
And those fajitas hit the floors all. And like, what the f? Come on, right here, bitch. Right here.
Boy, I'm not gonna lie, bro. That shit. Yikes, bro.
Now sure, Chili's is a very popular restaurant with thousands of locations, but specifically talking about the excitement of receiving fajitas feels like it wouldn't even be that funny unless another comedian had success with it. But Swardson tried to clear the air, expressing that there wasn't any bad blood between them.
You know what I mean? Just waiting to get drilled by
What the
Schaub. Just sitting there. Schaub, thief for Sutherland.
Yeah, dude.
God, that's what I call him.
Dang, bro.
No, I'm kidding. There was a bit about Schaub, like, I guess he said, people say he stole some fajita joke from me.
Did he?
I don't care. It was just funny. I know Brendan. I don't care if he did, but I doubt it. I mean, he's had fajitas.
Yeah, a lot of people have had fajitas, yeah.
Now, he didn't necessarily outright deny that Schaub took the material, but he clearly didn't think it was a big deal.
He said, I don't care. He didn't say that he didn't do it. He just said he didn't care, bro. He knows.
However, Schaub didn't like the idea that they were even considering that he may have stole the jokes, so he outright denied any and all allegations.
Remember when he was on the Find the Kid back at the old studio?
Yeah.
And he roasted us? He said I look like an Italian Lego.
He's the greatest. Good. Nick is the great. I just talked.
He's the funniest guy of all time.
I just talked.
So I do, it's not a special anything. I do that bit at the Comedy Store. I wrote it, I don't know, right before I went on, right? So I do that bit maybe 3 times, and then some fan was like, oh, that's like Nick Swardson's bit. I go, Nick has a fajita bit? He goes, yeah. And this is what people don't realize. The comedy community is pretty tight-knit. We all know each other. So all I do is Nick is a friend is texting me, go, hey, man, heard you have a fajita bit. I have a new bit that I wrote about fajitas. You have a fajita bit? He goes, I have something like it. What's your premise? I go, fajitas, how embarrassing it is when you order fajitas. It's sizzling. It's like ordering bottle service to the club. He goes, not exactly like mine. I can see how people see it. I went, all good, not going to do it anymore. Well, I was even influenced by Nick Swartzen. I've never seen his hour. I just know, I don't watch a ton of comedy. I've never seen a special. I've never seen anything.
You don't steal jokes.
We've had him on the
liar.
This is a classic Schaub response that built him a reputation for being untrustworthy. He says how Nick Swardson is the funniest guy of all time and that they are friends, but then immediately contradicts that by
saying he's never seen him.
Saying he has never seen Nick's material, never seen his special, and doesn't watch comedy at all. Therefore, it's impossible he could have stolen his joke. So he is either lying about stealing the joke or lying about how he feels about Nick's comedy. From there, fans discovered that he was blatantly taking jokes from classic movies like Step Brothers.
He's my... I'm the first one. Kobayashi.
You mess with my nut, Brennan? Randy here is gonna eat your...
Like Kobayashi.
Now again, to give him the benefit of the doubt, this could be interpreted as a reference, like him paying homage to a legendary comedy film. However, this next one is hard to defend, as Brendan may have snagged some material from a TikToker.
Been drinking.
Huh? You stealing jokes off of TikTok now? We got that bad, bro? Okay.
Bud Light. Years, man. I don't see how it makes you gay.
How about Bud Light? God, they messed up, huh? Boy, they just didn't leave the room, did they? I don't see the problem with Bud Light, dude. I love Bud Light. Like, dude, people are so homophobic. Like, oh, you're gonna drink Bud Light, turn gay? Get it out of here, man.
Bro, that was the same fucking joke. Every single part about it was exactly the same.
I'm not sure what's worse, stealing material from legendary comedians who will obviously find out,
or from TikTok.
Or being a professional comedian and looking for new jokes on TikTok. But if none of these were good enough examples, here's a moment where Brendan stole a joke from the TV show It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia about Hulk Hogan, and Rogan specifically asked Brendan when he came up with the joke, giving him the opportunity to essentially come clean and give credit to the original creator, but he doesn't, and he passes it off as his own.
Oh, Hulk Hogan's hair. It's blonde and yet it's silken like that of a Chinese man.
Ah, yes. That is Hulk Hogan's signature look. Blonde Chinese hair and the skin of a hot dog. It's awesome.
What'd you say? What'd you say?
Like he should be jumping out of a cake. Boss is the one with the Hulk Hogan skin, the hot dog skin. Yeah, that's him on top.
Hot dog skin is hilarious.
How funny is that?
That's the tannest, best-looking guys have hot dog skin.
They all have hot dog skin, right? Hulk Hogan looks like a hot dog.
Dude, hot dog skin's the best expression ever.
No.
When did you come up with that?
For a while ago.
A while
That's
ago.
beautiful.
That's how I describe Hulk
Congratulations.
Hogan. No.
Congratulations. There's a few descriptions in my life that have really sunk home.
With the overwhelming amount of criticism from comedy fans, and after his best buddy Rogan said his stand-up comedy wasn't even good, Schaub basically quit.
Yeah, I think this time I just don't care. That's where I'm at. I gotta.
Bro, I just ate a Pringle and it tasted like perfume, bro. What the
be home more. I'm gonna pull back from touring so much, and I just gotta be home, man. I can't miss Tigers games. Can't miss my Bosty growing up, baby girl. I can't do it anymore. I'm tired, man. I'm tired.
And while this seems like a valid reason to take a step back in other industries, it's clear that Schaub realized he didn't have the skill nor material to stay in the game. However, Schaub nabbing jokes from other comedians honestly wasn't surprising. He was new to the industry and already hated by fans. But Dane Cook? That one shocked people. He was selling out arenas, hosting SNL, starring in movies. He was literally the face of comedy for a moment.
Damn, Jessica Alba. You had a movie with Jessica Alba, bro.
So when the plagiarism accusations hit, the entire industry turned on one of its biggest stars. Dane Cook was one of the few comedians that legitimately became a superstar, and he did that by taking advantage of social media. Now today,
is it bad that I don't really know this guy?
Obviously, comics are going to use social media to grow their careers. You would be crazy not to. But back in the MySpace era, this was seen as corny, and some industry comics felt Dane's success was undeserved. And while Dane saw a massive influx of young comedy fans, mostly college kids, traditional stand-up fans didn't really find Dane Cook's joke delivery that great. He stuck to observational humor, avoiding punchlines, and resorting to cheap tactics to keep the audience laughing.
I know, it is so true, and that's why it's funny. It is so true. That's why it's funny. Because it's so true, hence funny.
Then again, comedy is entirely subjective, and at the end of the day, the goal is to make people laugh. So if the crowd is laughing...
That's my thing, bro. It's the same thing with music, entertainment, anything, bro. All this shit's it's any form of entertainment is subjective, bro. Niggas could be watching my video, my reaction to patrickcc, and think that the way I yap is entertaining. Some niggas might watch it and be like, man, fuck this dude. I want to watch the Patrick video, which is ironic because why would you click on a reaction on the first place? But still.
Laughing, then it's hard to say the comic is not funny, right? Dane saw the haters as just a natural side effect to his rapid rise to stardom, but even some of his own fans questioned if he deserved the platform he had after he released his special Retaliation. Not because it wasn't funny,
God,
but
this is so early 2000s. Oh my gosh, bro.
Rather because some of the jokes were not actually his. A few of Dane's jokes and premises were very similar to those
I take that back. This is so early 2000s.
Explored on Louis C.K.'s 2001 album, Live from Houston.
What'd I say? He literally said 2001. Oh my God.
Texas, starting with the bit that they both did when choosing a weird name for their child.
Name, you know? Like a name with no vowels, maybe, you know? Just like just like 40 F's, that's his name.
Whatever the names that you come up with, that's exciting right there. You get to both decide, hey, do you want to name that? No, I don't like that name. Right? It's like a little game. You try to come up. I already have names picked out. I don't even know. First kid, boy, girl, I don't care. The first one that comes out, I'm naming it.
And if this was the only similar joke between Dane and Louis, it could have been seen as simply a coincidence. Even Steve Martin had a joke in the 19...
I mean, it was, but it wasn't like... He didn't use the... Or like the no vowel thing. So it could be like... it's similar, but he didn't... I don't know.
In 70s, where he discusses parents naming their kids. Some people think that Louis and Dane were actually both inspired by Steve Martin's classic joke. But then, two more jokes were spotted that made it even more suspicious. Like this one about an itchy beehole.
Like I was staying in a hotel and the soap was really nasty, and I had an itchy asshole for like a week, and I could have won $1 million. I still would have been going, my ass.
The other day, I don't know if you've ever gotten this, it was about 2:30 in the afternoon. I got the itchiest I've ever gotten. on record. And I keep a record of my itchy ass. May 14th, 1985, I had a very itchy...
Again, maybe just a coincidence.
Yeah.
After all, anyone who has had an itchy behind knows this pain. But then, Dane delivered a third joke premise that was awfully similar to Louis, one about not being able to speak when your life is being threatened by oncoming traffic.
And I didn't know what to do. I was like, I wanted to yell something, but what do you yell? And I'm trying to, like, time slows down. I'm trying to choose the thing to yell that will have all the information that he needs. Because it was happening really fast. I had, like, that much time to yell, you know. What can I yell in that much time? Hey, you got to my God! You know, that's not...
I did try to help this man. As the car was coming towards him, I reached out and I said, "Oh! Oh!" That's all I could think of to say.
All three jokes have major differences in their delivery, but it's an extreme coincidence that Dane's 2005 comedy album has 3 bits that cover the exact same premises as Louis' 2001 album. And in a weird turn of events, Louis invited Dane onto his television show to do a scripted scene where he confronts Dane.
I think you saw me do them. I know you saw me do them, and I think they just went in your brain. And I don't think you meant to do it, but I don't think you stopped yourself either. And that's why I never felt the need to help you not be hated by a lot of people. But I feel bad. I mean, I do. I feel bad.
If this were the end of the accusations, maybe Dane could have gotten away with it. However, this was not his last offense.
Oh my God,
Dane was
bro.
accused of taking material from Dimitri Martin in 2006, where they both talk about asking for a shoe size and the worker comes back with the wrong size, resulting in them having to cut a piece of their foot off.
I went into a shoe store and I said, hey, can I get those in a 10? The guy said, sure, and he went in the back. Then a couple minutes later he came out and he goes, I don't have a 10, I have a 9. Great. Because while you were in the back, my toes were severed off.
Again, recapping, do you have those in a 12, right? She goes into the stock room. She's in there for about a minute and a half, 2 minutes, right? She walks out. She comes up to me, you guys, so enthusiastic, such like optimism. She's holding a boot. She comes right up to me and she goes, we have it in 9. Great, you guys also have a bone saw anywhere nearby?
Dane's premise was nearly identical to Dimitri's. This one's really hard to defend. Most joke theft can be justified because they are often relatable scenarios that anyone could have experienced, but cutting off your foot to fit into a shoe is way too creative and specific.
That's very
As
niche.
if it couldn't get any worse, Joe Rogan even says Dane stole one of his bits about tigers f***ing, but Dane changed it from tigers to rhinos. Rogan took matters into his own hands and confronted Dane with a phone call, seeking an explanation. Allegedly, Dane apologized to Joe and said he would remove the bit, but then 2 weeks later, Joe caught Dane telling another joke of his on stage once again. Then Joe confronted Dane in person saying, "What the F are you doing? You know that's my bit. You heard me say it. What the F makes you think you can take my material and do it on stage?" The two have since made amends for the whole incident, with Joe forgiving him and praising him for bringing comedy to social media, but the joke theft left a serious mark on Cook's career. The rest of his comedy journey has been a brutal nosedive from where it was at its peak. Sure, Cook had a large fan.
Look, bro. Take this as a lesson to just be yourself, bro. Be authentic. Because at some point, somebody's going to figure it out and it's just going to ruin your career, bro. Might as well just be you, bro.
Fan base, but most stand-up
Can't stop being you, but you can stop impersonating someone else.
addicts wanted nothing more than to see him disappear. However, some comics get away with stealing jokes their entire career and their fan base has no idea, like Robin Williams, a comedy legend who wholeheartedly admits to stealing material and people still...
No, not Robin Williams stole the jokes. I thought when I saw him as a picture, it was like they were stealing his jokes. No.
Still don't believe it. Robin's stand-up felt like an unscripted, endless stream of consciousness. You just had to sit there in amazement as he'd fill a one-hour special with riddles, puns, long setups, and one-liners at an extremely fast pace. But a lot of this success came from the constant battle inside Robin's head. Most of his career involved drug abuse and crippling depression, and he never hesitated to turn these experiences into art.
A little sip of Perrier here. I had to stop drinking alcohol because I used to wake up nude and hood in my car with my keys in my...
Hi, can I help you? No, thanks. It's just flooded. I'll be okay. Beautiful, baby. Beautiful, yeah.
As fun as it was for the audience to see Robin Williams firing on all cylinders, a lot of comics didn't find it amusing at all, mostly because they'd be sitting in a club ready to go on, and suddenly they'd hear Robin use one of their jokes. One comic got so upset that he threw Williams against the wall before demanding $300 for a stolen bit.
Damn!
Robin said, "In the old days, if you hung out in comedy clubs, which I was doing almost 24/7, you hear things. And then, if you're improvising, you're all of a sudden repeating jokes, and going, oh, my brain was working that way. I was also like the bank of comedy." Then when he got confronted for stealing the material, he said, "Oh, here you go. Here's money. I'm sorry. I didn't know. I just paid loads of cash." And then after a while, I bought that line already, and I had to pay again. I went, "Oh, I'm sorry." Now, this practice of buying jokes might seem a little strange. We like to think that our favorite comedians made their material strictly from their personal experiences, but buying jokes has been a common practice since stand-up started. Sometimes the joke just clicks so well with the rest of a comedian's act that they can't help but pay real money to take it for themselves. It's very similar to a musician having a songwriter. There's nothing inherently wrong with it, but some people feel like it knocks down your credibility.
I was about to say, like, okay, for songwriting, it's like, because like sometimes people just need help. But for comedy, I feel like that is a little bit of a, like, you can't write your own jokes, bro. You need somebody to write your jokes for you. You got to pay for jokes. I don't know.
If you're not the one doing 100% of the work. However, for Robin, he seemed to regret the way he went about acquiring material. Every performance he gave on stage was like going into a trance, and he was so eager to make the audience laugh at every beat, he often blurted out material that wasn't his because it helped him avoid that horrible feeling of bombing.
Well, then you have to accept that idea that where they can, where either they laugh with you or they laugh at you. At some point, you have to be comfortable if they're laughing at you.
You're comfortable with either one, laughing at you. Can you tolerate that? And that's maybe sometimes where I go, oh, go. The insecure part goes, no.
What are you afraid will happen?
I guess it's that fear of you'll recognize that they're, as how insecure are we really?
Yeah.
How desperately insecure that made us do this for a living.
Now, this temperament is what protected Robin Williams from the downfall that often follows being labeled as a joke thief. He was always brutally honest with himself, no matter how bad it made him feel. Before his tragic death in 2014, Robin made a habit of avoiding comedy clubs outside of performing. He started to realize that he was a sponge, unintentionally taking material from every experience he had and turning it into comedy without a second thought. And when it comes to comedy or the creative process in general, he is not alone. There's actually a psychological explanation for why comedians unknowingly take material from others, and it's called cryptomnesia. Cryptomnesia is a type of memory bias in which a person unconsciously remembers something and believes that they have thought of it themselves.
I'm not gonna lie to you, that low-key happens to me sometimes. Not frequently whatsoever, like maybe once every blue moon. I'll like randomly think about something and then forget that I heard it instead of lived it. Now, the reason why I say this doesn't happen often is because those memories are from years ago. I mean, like 10 plus. I'll think of something, and then like the next day or like a little bit after I say the story or tell the story, I'm like, wait a minute, that wasn't me.
Some people also refer to it in comedy as parallel thinking, and it happens all the time in your real life. Maybe you were at a party, sharing a great story about a personal experience with a close friend, only for that same friend to tell your story at another party next week, but with their own personal spin on it. And if you call them out, they'll give you a blank stare like nothing ever happened. And that's probably because they don't remember you telling them. They just unconsciously...
See, that's different. Like if they tell it like a week later or something. But like it'd be crazy when you in class, you tell a joke, and you're like, you say it quietly because you don't think it's a hit, and then the popular kid repeats it louder, and then everybody in the classroom's laughing. You're like, you fucking dickwad. That was my joke.
Consciously added it to their memory bank because laughter from others leads to an instant hit of dopamine, and they are looking for their next fix. Even psychology professors teaching students about cryptomnesia have noticed them falling victim to it.
I work with college students, and often throughout the year I give them a lot of different examples for different psychological principles. And later on in the year, sometime, they'll repeat these examples to me as if they came up with them on their own.
This can happen whenever a person encounters an idea or piece of information but forgets where they saw or heard it. Suddenly they feel like...
Exactly. That's the only time it happens to me, and why I said it's like these memories are from like 10 plus years ago, because like I'll forget what like transpired.
They had a magical epiphany about a new invention or charming anecdote, and they truly walk around believing that it was their original thought. While a handful of comedians are notorious for stealing jokes, almost every comedian doing stand-up has been guilty of unintentionally stealing ideas and making them their own. Even Louis C.K. has gone on record saying this is probably what happened between him and Dane Cook, and Robin Williams' experience at the comedy club matches this description perfectly. It's not that they saw a special and deliberately stole someone else's ideas, it's that they're totally immersed in the world of comedy and accidentally archived a bit in their brain before going on stage. Then again, this is a convenient excuse for stealing, and sometimes the joke theft is so obvious that there's almost no way they made a mistake, and if you get called out on it, it could be the death of your career. Like when Joe Rogan exposed Carlos Mencia for being one of the biggest joke thieves in the history of comedy. Carlos Mencia was one of the most recognized names in the early...
Damn, bro. His Carlos Mencia's chapter is the longest in the fucking video, bro. You must have been a fucking thief, bro.
2000s comedy industry. He had killer stage presence, good timing, and amazing delivery. But behind the curtain, his reputation wasn't the best. Among other comics, he was considered the greasiest guy in the business. There was an open secret in the scene that if Carlos heard your joke and he liked it, he'd steal it. His joke stealing got so out of hand that sometimes he'd pitch stolen material to the very people he took it from. On the Mikey radio show, Carlos called in and acted like he had this hilarious original sketch idea.
There's stereotypes and you just do this and that, and I was like, you know what, I'm gonna have a stereotype Olympics. So we did that yesterday. We actually had a stereotype Olympics where we had 5 guys, you know, black guy, white guy, Asian guy, a Middle Eastern guy, and a Hispanic guy, and we had them just compete in stereotypical events to see if everybody actually had.
But the second he hung up the phone,
sounds like Hood Olympics. Except Hood Olympics is just already see black guys.
He revealed that Carlos stole the bit from another DJ.
Stereotypical Olympics is an idea that some DJs came up with in Miami. Shut up. In fact, we heard the idea from these guys in Miami, and we were going to do it here on the air. Yeah. We heard the idea from them at Morning Show Boot Camp last year.
Oh. Yeah, like in our notes back from boot camp.
Yeah, we got it in our notes.
It's like
stereotypical
I have an email
Olympics
from about 10 months ago that says stereotypical Olympics, and it lists basically exactly everything he said they did.
No. And so here we are.
Oh, F.
Here we are talking about the fight between him and Rogan, where Rogan says this together.
Of course he would. You know why he would? Because he's a thief and a scumbag.
And after years of this behavior, comedians were finally tired of it. Yikes. And eventually, Joe Rogan decided to do something about it. It's important to remember at the time, Carlos Mencia was much more famous than Joe Rogan. Mencia had his own TV show, voiced an animated series, had multiple popular comedy specials on HBO and Comedy Central, and Rogan, on the other hand, was...
So far, I know Carlos Mencia and Robin Williams. I don't know Dane Cook, and I don't know Brendan Schaub. Or Schaub, whatever.
Mostly known as the host of Fear Factor. Plus, the UFC was not nearly as large as it is today, and Rogan's podcast did not even exist yet. Also in the comedy industry, one of the most important rules at that time was whether you are a comic or a patron, filming another person's set was forbidden. Therefore, it was extremely difficult to prove that Mencia's joke theft was actually happening. So Joe Rogan created a plan to expose him.
Mencia was like, wow, stay away from him. You know, I basically told her the whole story. I'm like, Mitzi, he's stealing comedians' material and doing their closing bits right before he brings them up on stage. When he's there, we flash the light so that people know that he's in the audience so you don't do your best.
I would just do crowd work, and then Tommy would get mad at me all the time.
Don't do your best
Why don't you
shit.
do your set? I'm not going to do my set in front of that guy.
Because he was a notorious joke thief, and there were comics
a lot of my good buddies would not go on stage if he was in the room.
Rogan's right-hand man today
shit.
is young Jamie, but back in the day, it was comedian Brian Redban. At some point, Redban started secretly collecting footage of Carlos Mencia's thievery, with the intention of making a video and posting it to Rogan's website. But the final part of this expose would come in 2007 when Rogan stormed the stage during one of Mencia's live performances at the Comedy Store to reveal to the audience who he really was.
I'm somebody important enough that he had to end the show by saying Carlos Mencia. That's who I am. Yo, bro, how difficult it is for cops. You don't know that nobody supports us. You don't know that nobody. If someone steals a riff from a song, that's in the news constantly. Yeah. Steal and make it on HBO. They steal put it on television. What are you saying? Listen, I know you guys don't you're acting like a little. No, you're not saying that. Yes. I'm agreeing with you. They don't even know what the I do.
After this confrontation, Rogan felt like this was the nail in the coffin for Mencia's career. Rogan uploaded this video compilation to his website and YouTube titled Carlos Mencia vs. Joe Rogan. This video smashed together the IRL confrontation, clips of Mencia's stolen material, as well as commentary from other comics backing Rogan's claims.
Go ahead, tell everybody. You steal material. What material? Constantly, bro. What material? You use Ari's bit verbatim about. Wait a minute. Oh, you mean the bit that either George Lopez did when he just did that show? Ari did it a long time ago when he was opening for you. You saw him do it. You do it exactly. When did he open for? He never opened for me. Did I open for you? Did that show? I was doing that show before. Yes, bro.
Insane.
Here's this new thing, I don't know if you guys heard this. He wants to build a new wall all down the California-Mexico border. Like a 12-foot high brick wall. It's like 3 feet deep. So no Mexicans get in. But I'm like, dude, Arnold, who do you think's going to build that wall?
I propose that we kick all the illegal aliens out of this country. Then we build a super fence so they can't get back in. And I went, who's going to build it? That's the joke. Do you really think that a Jewish guy came up with that joke before?
The video also included a radio interview of legendary Latino comic George Lopez talking about how he physically assaulted Mencia after he stole Lopez's material.
I think I had him on my show.
Oh, the mind of Mencia, that's what you're talking about.
You have a feud with him, right?
I don't know if it's much a feud as...
Did you punch him out or something?
Yeah, I did.
You did? What happened? Tell me.
Feud. Well, you know, the guy was pretty liberal with some of the material, you know. And
this is a comedian?
He had an HBO one-night stand that I think had like... We counted 13 minutes of my material on it, and we contacted HBO, and I think they pulled it for a while.
George Lopez didn't grab you by your neck and slam you up against the left back of the wall for ripping off your HBO special? Yeah. Yes, he did. But you know what he did? Because you're a liar, bro. That's all right. He didn't do it to me. You know what Lopez said to me? Give me a hug. What's up? George Lopez actually said on Howard Stern that he doesn't want any other Hispanic comedian to make it except for him. Yeah, maybe he said that.
Additionally, there was an interview with Bobby Lee that essentially proved how comedians were scared of telling the truth of Mencia's joke theft.
Yeah, Ned, do a couple minutes of his material. Well, I'll just do some of my material and then it'll be a bit of same. You know, so I'll just talk about myself. What has he ever stolen from you? I used to this bit about how I was so small that my dad would have to get on my shoulders to get on a ride at Disneyland. Right? Then he did a bit, literally, but this is, I can't do it. But where's this going? Who cares? What the f*** reality? Anyway, it's good to see you. Don't be a fucking This is the reason why comedians get away with stealing. Because comedians like you are afraid of confrontation.
Now, if Rogan posted this expose video today, Carlos Mencia's career would have likely ended overnight. But at the time, Mencia was a huge draw, selling out shows and bringing in serious money. Rogan was actually seen as the troublemaker in this situation, the guy calling out the cash cow and stirring up controversy on stage. And since Mitzi Shore, owner of the Comedy Store, had strong ties to Mencia and prioritized business over beef, Rogan was banned from the Comedy Store for nearly 10 years. And Carlos kept doing shows like nothing happened. After this situation, you can imagine Mencia felt untouchable. What would have ended his career turned into a small inconvenience that he shrugged off, and Rogan was the one who was punished.
And it's crazy because he came with proof too. He came with proof, and he's still
at an all-time high. In a 2010 documentary, Mencia straight up admitted that he was a joke thief.
A lot of people out there are going to ask, why did they interview Carlos about this? You know, Carlos is a joke thief. Carlos steals jokes, and we know this. And listen to me, and look at me when I tell you this with all honesty. If you think that I steal jokes, yeah, you're right. Of course I steal jokes. Are you out of your mind? When I come to a comedy club, you better run. You better get the off stage, because if anything you say is even remotely funny, I'm gonna make it mine, and all I'm gonna do is say Mexican in the front.
But Carlos could not be protected by his status forever. The internet started playing a much bigger role in a comedian's popularity, as many of them built their fan bases online through podcasting and social media. Fans develop a deeper connection with podcast comedians because they
social media. I've believed this for a very long time. Social media is the best tool in the world. If you want to change your life and stop working for other people and just be a content creator, social media is the best tool in the world. Even me, myself, I'm trying to get there, but I don't use social media enough. I don't use it enough, bro. So that's why I started to try and go back to daily TikTok clip uploads, and I'm gonna try and use Instagram to promote my videos more and stuff like that, because dude, social media is a great fucking tool, bro.
Feel like they know the real person behind the stand-up act. Nobody was afraid to call out Mencia's joke theft online, and once fans saw the receipts, Mencia started facing serious consequences.
The infamous Carlos Mencia.
Infamous.
You've become kind of infamous.
Dude, it's so weird, man. I was at the Comedy Store on, what was it, Saturday night, and I popped in really late. Like, on purpose.
Right.
Just because I knew, all right, I'm going to bump somebody, but at least it'll be like toward the end, and it won't be, so I got there literally at 1 something.
Yeah.
Did about 20 minutes or so, and, the crowd was happy. They were great. It was awesome. I'm out back, and, you know how this parking lot is structured, and there's the big ramp where they park on the other side by the hotel.
Yeah, yeah.
A guy literally sitting on the door, the passenger side, holding like probably a flip or something like that.
Yeah.
Pointing it at me, just yells out, "You suck! You're the worst piece of ever! You!" And I'm just like,
damn. I mean, social media do that to you, bro. These parasocial ass niggas think they can just say whatever they would say to your face sometimes. Well, not all of them, because most of them will say shit behind the screen and will never say that shit to your face. But some people think they can just come up and disrespect you because they see you on the internet.
Really? Was that necessary, bro? Like, honestly? Wow.
Even South Park made an episode roasting Carlos Mencia for his reputation as a
oh my god, I remember this fucking episode. Wow.
compulsive liar.
Yeah, vive la Mexico! So, Carlos, you've got a show on Comedy Central, a stand-up tour. Where did you have time to come up with this classic joke? Well, I was just kicking it with my homies and my brain. My brain's always so full of ideas because I'm so funny and stuff. So I was just all like...
I remember this fucking episode, bro. This is one of my favorite ones, too.
Hey, Pepito, you like fish sticks? And my homeboy says, yeah, Carlos, you're so funny. And it just occurred to me. I was like, oh, man, you must be gay because you like fish dicks.
Oh, my God, bro, this episode. And then they were so pissed because he stole his joke. Oh, my God. I didn't even know this had a backstory. I didn't even know this episode had a backstory. Holy shit.
You gay fish, Holmes? No.
Must be a gay fish.
Okay, look, it wasn't me. I didn't really start the fish stick thing, all right? You're just saying that now because you're scared. No, man, it's true. I stole it, man. I took credit for it because I'm not actually funny. Come on, man. Do you know what it's like? Being a comedian but not being funny?
Almost all of the comedians that Carlos stole from became bigger than him during the podcast and social media era, which just further drove his reputation into the ground as fans took sides with their new favorites. In a shocking twist of fate, Bobby Lee actually tried to help Mencia restore his reputation. He invited him onto his podcast to get him to come clean and admit to his theft, but he continued to deny, make excuses, and even claim to be a victim.
It's just like, that's what it is.
I realize how much negativity it creates.
They did something to me that comics up until then never done. We handled art together, right? There have been stories about Kinnison pulling out a gun on Dice and all that, but those stayed amongst us. That was never put on the internet so that normal people that don't know about comedy get involved.
What would you do differently about comedy?
Nothing.
That's what I was thinking.
I wouldn't do a thing different. I took the hit, but it's like the hit wasn't bad because I was right, and eventually I knew they would realize I was right, and I would wish that he would realize I was right.
I don't think you should air this, but I'm in a vulnerable place. You know that I have some family and some friends. I've stopped some of my good friends from doing some to people that talk about me.
Now, I could be wrong, but if we were to interpret Mencia here, he essentially threatened Rogan that he has family members that
I'm gonna get my brother to fight you, man. Literally, that's the energy that just gave me, bro.
Would physically harm him. Bobby tried as hard as he could to get Mencia to take accountability, but it didn't work.
But a lot of your material was a little too similar to the ilk of Paul Mooney or, Bill Hicks or, the Cosby thing was, right. So my point, I know my point though being is that, to me, where there's smoke, there's fire.
You personally have seen me write 20 minutes of new on stage in one show.
I have seen that, but I have also seen some of your act, a little too close to things that have already been established, like the Bill Cosby bit.
Yeah, I'd never seen that one. So
I know my
bro, he's trying to give you and he's trying to give you some grace, and you just bro.
Point though is that it's so similar, right?
Yeah.
For me, there's certain codes that go on in comedy. Like for instance, I remember one time Johnny Sanchez said, I'm doing this new bit about, me walking through a spider web, but people from afar can't see you walk through the spider web.
Right.
And so, they just think you're a crazy person,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
And I looked at him and I go, yeah, Brian Regan does that bit. And Johnny goes, oh, well, I'm not going to do it anymore, right? There's that little code, right? And I believe that if you had written that bit, that you would continue to do it. And I just feel like it might be a situation where it might be, unfixable, which is a sad thing.
Arguably, the only reason comedians were able to steal...
He tried. But he did explain that well. He said, if you were the one who did it, and then I told you, hey, this person does it, you probably still would have did the bit.
Without punishment in the past was because they succeeded before everything was posted online. It's not an exaggeration to say that the internet basically put an end to joke theft completely, and nobody felt this change more than Amy Schumer when her...
Oh my gosh, I don't think I find anyone less funny than this woman right here, bro. I'm so sorry, bro. I don't think I've ever found a single joke she has ever told funny, ever. And again, there's the comedy is subjective thing. But bro, you gotta have some general jokes that'll make everyone laugh. Like wow.
Her reputation for
I
stealing
didn't even
bits
understand how she made comedy, bro. I'm not even gonna lie to you. And my humor is pretty fucking dog shit. I can't even lie to y'all niggas. Sometimes I mean, like, if you watch my gaming videos, if you watch my reactions, even my main channel videos, bro, sometimes I laugh at a lot of the time I laugh at my own jokes. But sometimes I even laugh at shit that's just not even really funny. But like, bro, I tried. I don't find a single thing she's ever said funny, bro. I don't know what it is. I really don't. And it's fucking easy to make me laugh, bro. Like, see, bro, like, there it is, bro. Whatever, bro.
Posted all over YouTube. Amy Schumer exploded onto the comedy scene seemingly out of nowhere. She had an advertising campaign for
God, it's gonna be such a hard watch.
Butterfinger, was a reoccurring guest on Fox News' Red Eye with
all of that to say, though, like, the fact that I can still make a lot of you guys laugh that watch my videos, even though, like, personally, I don't think that I'm super duper funny. The fact that I can still make some of y'all laugh and, like, entertain a lot of y'all too, it warms my heart. It really does, bro, because, like, it's insane, bro.
Greg Gutfeld.
Sorry,
and in
I couldn't even do
2013,
it.
she
I'm
secured
so, bro, I've been up, what? It's 6 a.m. This video came out, I don't know, sometime.
comedy sketch show called Inside Amy Schumer that ran for 6 years, almost just as long as The Chappelle Show and Mind of Mencia combined. She was also starring in movies and even making her own, like Trainwreck with SNL legend Bill Hader. But Schumer had been in stand-up comedy for less than a decade, which is the length of time comics believe is necessary to be a solid professional. All of her recent success made her look like an industry plant, with a majority of people agreeing that she was never funny to begin with.
And then I realized there's holes in the bottom of the trash can. So really I'm just puking all over my own and sweatpants. So we're engaged. No, just kidding.
And while a lot of women have had a hard time being accepted in comedy, Schumer's jokes would fall flat anytime she wasn't surrounded by the fringe group that enjoyed her work. Most of her material was about vaginal hygiene, gross and how she was a no-nonsense boss babe that deserved to be in the industry because she spoke her mind. And a lot of people resented her presence from the very start. She's living proof that literally anybody can become successful in comedy, even the unfunniest person on earth.
Hey man, comedy is subjective, bro. But he's not wrong. Anyone can be successful, bro. Anyone. I kid you not. Anyone can be successful. Not everyone will do it, though. What's that saying I have? Everyone has their moment. Not everyone shows up to claim it.
I can't even...
Everyone has their moment. Or everyone has their success. Everyone has a success, but not everyone... Or, hold on. Everyone succeeds, but not everyone shows up to succeed. I don't know, bro. I had it before, bro, but like, I don't remember the saying anymore. I said it like a few videos ago, though, but I just don't remember the exact words I used. But basically what I'm saying is everyone has a chance to become successful, make their passion a dream or whatever, their career, to where they don't have to work for no one else, blah, blah, blah. But not everyone goes out to get it. That's the one thing. It won't just fall in your lap. You have to go out and get it. Not everyone's going to do that because either they're too scared or they just don't believe in themselves. Another thing is people will get their fame and then they will do dumb shit to squander it, bro. Haley Welch, Hawk to a Girl. I thought she was doing it, bro. She got famous off that viral clip, and then she started selling merch, started a podcast, all of this shit, bro. And then she crypto scammed. And just like that, nobody talks about her anymore unless they're talking about the crypto scam. It's insane.
Tell if she's making a joke. And whenever she did come up with new...
Haley Welch is one of those girls that... Or Haley Welch is one of those people who had a success but didn't show up for it. And I thought she did. I was like, bro, she showed up because she was getting that merch in. She was doing everything. Nope.
Joke premises, it was often mean-spirited and felt less like a joke and more like a personal attack. Like when she made fun of Steve-O from Jackass at the roast of Charlie Sheen, saying that he should have passed away instead of his late friend Ryan Dunn.
Oh, that's not funny, bro. It's never okay to be like, well, it should have been you instead of this person. Like, what the fuck?
Bo is here. Steve-O, great try. Steve-O.
But I truly am, no joke, sorry for the loss of your friend Ryan Dunn. I know you must have been thinking it could have been me, and I know we were all thinking, why wasn't it?
Not okay. Not okay.
Thank you.
And while people are quick to say that she only got backlash because she is a woman, this is one of those jokes that was in poor taste no matter who it came.
That's what I'm saying. A real comedian would have known not to tell that joke. That's the problem. That's the point. It's not the fact that she was a woman. A real comedian would not have told that joke. Yeah, I'm sorry for the loss of one of your best fucking friends. Yeah, I'm sorry for the loss to him, but like we're all thinking it should have been you. Like, you could see his face. He did laugh at the first joke she told. Like, he like did a little chuckle, a little smile. And then when she told that joke, he was just like, I know this bitch didn't just go there, bro.
Came from. She was probably looking for shock value. It was a horrible joke to make to a guy that lost his best friend.
Yeah, it was best friend. No, bro, that's not a joke you tell. Any real comedian wouldn't have told that joke, bro. Your best friend? That's off limits. That's a joke that's off limits, bro.
I've watched Steve-O practically my whole life, and I've never seen him have that look. Amy is just so inconsistent, especially how close this was to Ryan's passing. The public perception truly started to shift in 2015 when The Guardian posted a story called Amy Schumer, Comedy's Viral Queen. For such a keen observer of social norms and an effective satirist of the ways gender is complicated by them, Schumer has a shockingly large blind spot around race. Her lackluster stint hosting the MTV Movie Awards, a rare misstep, featured lazy jokes about Latino women being crazy. Schumer has said she's not worried about the show upsetting people because viewers know we have good intentions. But as Ann Theriault wrote for the Daily Dot, Amy Schumer frequently makes jokes that perpetuate stereotypes rather than dismantle them. It's hard not to feel like Schumer is only here for women who look like her. Now, this was a respectable critique, but what made it worse for Schumer was that the jokes she made about race weren't even her jokes to begin with. They were usually blatant rip-offs of
I forgot this was about being a joke thief. Oh my god.
Other people's work. Like when she took Kevin Nealon's bit about Asians looking tired.
It dawned on me that I don't see it in colors. I don't. In high school, I went out with this Chinese girl for a while once. I didn't even know she was Chinese. I thought, I don't know, maybe really tired, you know? No, seriously, I felt bad. I kept bringing her home early every night.
I don't know, maybe really tired? Okay.
We'll do this again another time. I'm not going anywhere. I'm not going anywhere.
No, I couldn't be less racist. I mean it. I was at a party 2 weeks ago in LA, and who walks in but Michelle Kwan? And out of nowhere, she tells me that Oliver Stone, you know, the director, she's like, he has this huge Asian fetish, and I find it totally offensive. And I'm like, why, Kwan? That sounds awesome, you know? And she's like, well, I'm offended because I'm Asian. And I was just like, well, I'm sorry, but I didn't even notice that.
Her last name is Kwan. Let it finish. Let it finish.
I thought you were just like really tired.
Or when her show Inside.
Yeah, her delivery on that one was ass, bro. Her delivery on that is ass. The other dude was just like, I don't know, maybe really tired. Like that one was cold, but she was like, I just thought you were really tired, man. Terrible delivery.
Amy Schumer took a Mad TV
Stole the joke
sketch
and couldn't
about
even do the delivery right.
Not recognizing a black.
That's the thing about most jokes. It's all about delivery. The joke doesn't even have to be funny, but the way you deliver the joke makes it funny.
Black retail worker.
How's this?
Oh, that's perfect.
They can ring you up right over there.
Thanks so much.
Stealing a joke from a show and then putting it in your also show is just like actually like, what the fuck are we doing, bro? This shit is crazy. Bro, I'm sorry, bro. I don't even really want to watch this part of the PatrickCC video, bro, because Amy Schumer is just not. Oh my god, I've never found this girl funny, bro. I'd rather watch Chalk. I was gonna say watch Chalk dry. What the fuck? Chalk is dry. I'd rather watch a teacher write a whole sentence on a chalkboard than to watch Amy Schumer, bro.
Okay, I'm Bengi.
If you need any other sizes, you please let me know, all right?
Okay.
There you go.
Hi, how are you?
Hi, how you doing?
Great.
All right, did somebody help you with this?
Yeah, she's right over. Oh, she's not there.
Did someone help you today?
Yeah,
Who was it?
You know, I don't see him.
Oh, that's okay. What did she look like?
She's dark hair.
She was gonna say black.
She was wearing a blazer.
Oh, yeah, all the girls are wearing blazers.
Yeah, but this was a green one.
Yeah, that's the uniform.
Do you know what he looks like?
Yeah.
Wow, this is like a 1-to-1 fucking copy. Bro, how could you just like, bro, I mean, like, dude.
He is wearing like a vest or like a plaid shirt, I feel like.
I don't know what everyone who works here wore today.
He had short hair.
And again, if this was just a few jokes, maybe Schumer could have avoided her demise. But there are so many cases of joke theft that you can find 20-minute videos jam-packed full of stolen...
9 million views, oh my god. Yeah, bro. Yeah, bro, that's a small city. A whole city knows that you're a joke thief, man.
material.
And then they crawl into your bed, and because their bones are growing and everything, they can only sleep in certain positions, obviously. The crucifix and the swastika tend to be the most popular.
Because I swear I found the one guy in Manhattan that loves like spooning, you know, just hugging all night. And I like sleeping by myself like a swastika. I'm just like...
Sleeping in the shape of a swastika is too unique of a premise for it to be a coincidence, considering that is not at all a normal way of describing a sleeping position. She even stole one of Ellen DeGeneres' jokes and then...
Stealing a joke from Ellen is fucking insane, bro. What the fuck, bro? Oh my god. See, here's the thing, bro. A lot of people find Ellen also very unfunny. I mean, Ellen's made me chuckle a few times here and there, but like getting your material from Ellen DeGeneres, bro. Oh my god, no way.
Delivered it right back to her on her own show.
And something about the darkness, we just lose all of our inhibitions in the darkness. Is the popcorn really that delicious we must shovel handfuls of it into our mouth?
Bro, I'm not gonna lie. If somebody stole one of my jokes, I'd never know. I forget what I say all the fucking time, bro. Something when I upload videos, bro, people will be like, I laughed at this part, blah blah blah, and I was like, what did I say at that part? I don't know. Or they'll be like, why'd you say this? And I'll be like, did I actually say that shit? So I'll go back and check and be like, holy shit, I actually did say that shit. When did I say that shit, bro? Because I don't remember anything, bro. I need y'all to understand something. I do everything myself. I don't have a team. I make my thumbnails myself. I record the videos on my main channel. I edit them myself. I make the thumbnails my damn self. I post the TikTok clips myself. I clip my own channel my damn self, and I edit the TikTok clips my damn self. And I upload the videos my damn self. I title the videos my damn... Bro, I don't have time to remember every word I said in a video, bro. I don't. And none of my shit is scripted. Y'all know this. I don't fake reactions. I don't pre-watch videos. None of that. So, like, I deadass will not remember what I say. What was the joke? I'm sorry, Ellen.
Darkness, is the popcorn really that delicious we must shovel handfuls of it into our mouth?
Popcorn. The way I think.
Wait, does Ellen react to this like? Where'd you get that joke from, man? Where'd you get that joke from, man?
We all eat popcorn, which is, you know, at first don't you always kind of start out kind of like lying to yourself, like, like one piece at a time, you know, and then like you get a little more real, right? And then eventually you just like you get real, and it just goes.
I've split my lip trying to get one more kernel. It's true.
The reason she's laughing so hard at this joke is because she done told it her damn self. So she thinks the joke is funny because it's a joke she also told.
Do you eat popcorn like that, though? Are you a popcorn lover?
Yeah, I do, and I eat it exactly like that.
Amy had a habit of promoting people's specials and then stealing from them, essentially telling on herself.
A tell is the best. A tell. Did you see his special road work?
I heard it's awesome.
It's so funny.
Because balls are disgusting, aren't they? Wow. And they stink. Yeah, they do. All right, I'll speak for my balls. On my best day, my balls might smell like a foot. On my best day.
Here's why he's brave. On my best day, my smells like a small barnyard animal. Okay?
I mean, I was disgusted when he said it because, bro, don't speak for everyone, my nigga. Don't speak for everyone, my nigga. That's disgusting, bitch. Your pussy smells like a barn animal on your best day. Do y'all not use soap? Do you guys just not wash your genital areas?
But I'm not going to be one of those crazy pregnant ladies who tries to get all back in shape right after they get pregnant. No. Hopefully, if you see me in a year, I will have the kind of body where if I do a nude scene on television, people will commend me for being courageous.
So I tweet out this photo of myself, okay? I'm holding coffee, I'm topless in just underwear, and it goes viral. And that's when I learned the word you don't want people to use when a nude photo of you goes viral. Brave?
Amy Schumer's jokes are like when you copy and paste homework, but it sounds too smart, so you have to make it sound dumber.
Yo, what's crazy about this is I know exactly what this nigga's talking about because I've done it myself, bro. I just copy and paste some shit off of Wikipedia, but I'm like, damn, hold on, let me try and put this shit in my own words.
And despite the mounting evidence against her, Schumer made efforts to push back on the idea that she was stealing material.
Anybody who writes on my show, we sit there, we think of ideas, and then we're like, oh, no, that's a Key and Peele. Oh, no, was this too some, you know.
That's a lie, bro, because you stole an exact scene out of Mad TV. It's a lie.
Done so many scenes because it was in a commercial, because one person saw a little bit of it somewhere else. I would never do anything that was even similar to anyone else.
And like many other comedians before her, since she was a big enough draw, these stolen jokes did not end her career overnight, but it was more like death by 1,000 cuts. Her Netflix special, The Leather Special, was flooded with 1-star ratings and labeled painfully unfunny. She claimed it was due to alt-right trolls review bombing the special, but the backlash had already spread far beyond politics. Her film roles started drying up, her show ended due to low ratings, and she quietly stepped away from the spotlight. These days, Amy Schumer is still working, and I'm sure she still has a core fan base, but she is well past her prime with seemingly no chance of reaching the peak she once had.
I mean, I'm sorry to say this, but I don't think she'll ever get back to that level because she was never funny to begin with. At least to me, like I said, this is like, I don't think I've ever found anyone more unfunny than Amy Schumer, bro. I don't think I've ever found, like, bro, I haven't laughed at a single joke that was even on here. And what's wild is I would laugh at the joke that she stole. And then when I would hear her say the joke, I'm like, this shit is not even funny because her delivery is dog shit. It's so bad. And like I said, bro, my humor is shot, bro. My humor is dog. I said my humor. My humor is dog shit, bro. I am so easy to make laugh. I laugh at my own jokes. Somehow I make y'all niggas laugh. I don't understand how the fuck I do that shit, but I'm grateful. I'm grateful that I can entertain y'all niggas a little bit, you know, because once I make this my career, my nigga, you know, I can confidently, once I make this my career, I can confidently say that my bad jokes and my just entertaining nature got me here, bro. Cause you know a nigga don't edit these fucking videos. You You know I don't edit these fucking videos, bro. The only videos I edit are my main channel videos, bro. That's it. But W video as always, Patrick. Yeah, I don't know, man. She's not funny.